Stock of the day is Apple. We're going to have a look at whether or not the Apple stock price could double in 5 years. Now, 2024 is set to be a turbulent year for Apple. For the first time in years, Apple has been dethroned by Microsoft as the most valuable company in the world. The margins razor thin though. Microsoft's market cap went above $3 trillion. Apple's market cap dipped below it. And not that Apple is slipping. Apple recently toppled the Korean chaebol Samsung as the world's largest phone maker in 2023. And it's also worth noting that Microsoft's share price has been climbing much faster than Apple's recently, specifically because investors have liked Microsoft's deepening involvement in the up-and-coming generative artificial intelligence sector. ChatGPT is the latest buzzword to conquer the tech world. So powerful is the software that OpenAI, the developer of the product, is valued at a staggering $100 billion. And Microsoft is fully employing the software's capability in its products, for example, the Azure OpenAI service. Meanwhile, Apple was hit with a sales ban on its smartwatch during the critical Christmas season. And furthermore, the US Department of Justice is preparing to throw the all-powerful antitrust legal proceedings against Apple. At the same time, investors are wondering aloud if the economic slowdown in China will drag Apple's future growth. All of this negative sentiment is taking a toll on Apple's share price. So against this darkening backdrop, can Apple double its market cap from the current $3 trillion to a mammoth $6 trillion? And where is all of that growth going to come from? In 2023, Apple was already the world's largest smartphone maker, shipping 234 million smartphones to customers worldwide. While Apple's hardware revenue is worth nearly $300 billion a year, Apple's SaaS sales is also expanding rapidly. Last year, this department racked up sales north of $80 billion. The Apple ecosystem is entrenched and looks set to generate further growth in the years to come. While China slows, Apple's sales in India are growing faster than expected. In October, the Czech tech giant registered 6 straight quarters of higher revenue in the country, a remarkable set of results. India's rapid pace of industrialisation is enlarging the cohort of the middle class in the country, which in turn is leading to more phone ownership. Apple is capturing this trend well. Yes, Apple is lagging somewhat in the AI race, but Apple has a powerful lead in its internally controlled silicon chips. Look at the speed Apple is introducing its M-series products, many of which are industry leading. Given Apple's strong ecosystem and positive network effect, it is unsurprising to see Warren Buffett predict that I know where Apple will be in 5 or 10 years. Profit for Apple in 2023 toppled nearly $97 billion. Only one company, Saudi state-owned Aramco, out-earns Apple. That said, will Apple's share price double from here? Perhaps, but the timing of this happening is highly uncertain. I really wouldn't know when or if this will happen in 1, 5 or even 10 years' time. The reason is that gaining another $2 to $3 trillion from here is much more difficult these days. Imagine the amount of buying needed to move the stock. In comparison, there are many beaten down and vastly smaller stocks which could land a double bagger for investors faster. At $3 trillion, one has to take the Buffett stance and wait patiently for the reward. Who knows, over the long term, Apple may even exceed everyone's expectations. All in all, Apple is a highly valuable, probably the best brand in the world. It's profitable and it's undoubtedly in a cylindrical upswing. Chart-wise, Apple is in a medium-term uptrend. Its share price has been rock solid since 2022, despite the volatile macro conditions. Prices did correct to $120 at the end of 2022, a 30% drawdown from its 2021 peak. But this decline was temporary and it fully recovered last year. Apple's share price, along with other big tech stocks, is now on the cusp of establishing new all-term price highs. And this setup increases the possibility of future gains. Will Apple hit $500? Possibly. However, this optimism needs to be backed up by certain conditions. 1, the current macro conditions have to stabilise and improve. And 2, investors continue to reward Apple for its earnings growth in the way of price earnings expansion. Currently, Apple trades on a PE of about 30 times. Imagine the scenario if Apple suddenly trades at 50. A surge in market optimism like this would set the stock on fire, but this optimism requires a bullish sentiment and loose monetary policies. Is Apple worth investing in? Well, based on Apple's share price trend, yes, I'd probably consider going long Apple. This is because Apple's prices are flirting with record highs. Stocks that are near all-time highs often go on to rally further due to an absence of sellers. But one has to bear in mind that Apple already has had a long ball run. Warren famously bought Apple back in 2016 when A, its valuation was much cheaper, and B, prices had just had a 12-month correction. So to gain a favourable risk-reward ratio Apple investment, it may be sensible to wait for a price correction to buy more shares for the same amount. But these corrections may not always come. So the trick is to have a foot in and watch to buy more when Apple's share price corrects into a buy zone. Now, I can be sure that Warren Buffett will be looking to increase his 6% Apple stake if prices are right as well. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to Good Money Guide if you want to stay up to date with our most recent stock market analysis.